Hey guys, one of the reasons I like to make videos is maybe I can help you with something like a mistake I've made. And I tend to make mistakes over and over again. Here's a mistake I've made again and again in my life. My lower back hurts, and it's been hurting for almost a week on and off lately, and I haven't given it time to get better. So mistake number one, I should have just chilled out and let my back get better. But why is it hurting in the first place is the question, and the answer is simple. I'm riding a bike that's too big for me, and I've made this mistake over and over again in my life. I've done it with a I've done it with I really probably the whole time I've been riding a bike. I started on 58s, and I don't really have any pictures of my oldest bike, but I had a Raleigh, a 58 centimeter Raleigh, and then I went to a 56, but with really, really, really low head tube and a really, really low stem, and that gave me shoulder pain. I bought a bike in 2006, a Schwinn. I think it was a Peloton or anyway, it was an aluminum Schwinn with Dura-Ace components. It was a really nice bike, and I got it from the local bike shop that we had here. It was like a return or something, so it was a pretty sweet deal. And I got it because I worked at the shop, and basically instead of paying me, he gave me this bike after like about 6 months or something, or a year, however long I worked. I worked like 1 or 2 days a week every now and again. So the bike was an extra large, and I knew it was big, but it didn't look that much bigger than the 58s I had and the 58s I was riding. I had been riding a 56, and I thought it was too small. I thought I was cramped up all the time. The problem was actually not that it was too small, it was just that it was too low. The stem was too low. It was more of a racing bike. It had a very short head tube and a very low stem. And the 58s I had rode, my first bike, they had stems that angled up and quill stems that were very adjustable. You could take the stem up like, say, 3 or 4 or 5 inches, right up. So this bike caused me to have basically so many problems and nearly quit riding. I really didn't ride very much in 2006, 2007. I I remember lots and lots of back pain, lots of suffering on this bike. It was fine, up until about say 20 miles or so, and then I started just having this this suffering. And I remember like setting up, what relieved the back pain would be to set up, like put my fingers on the tops, like just the fingertips, and try to stretch my back out. Get off the bike. It would get better if I got off the bike and stretched my back out. So I mean, it's really obvious. Why is my back hurting? The bike is too long. I've got my back extended too far out, and it's causing me a lot of pain, and I didn't realize that. I bought a 58 in 2009, a Cannondale CAD 9 58, thinking that I was going back to the right size because this bike was actually closer to a 60, and I thought, I usually ride 58. I can probably ride a 60. The Cannondale was better, but I still had the lower back pain. It still bothered me. It wasn't until I finally figured out that my seat was too far back, and my stem was too long because the Cannondale, the 58, Cannondale CAD 9 came with like a 120 stem. When I put a 90 on there, all of a sudden my back problems went away. And the key thing here is that it's not necessarily low handlebars. Low handlebars put a lot of strain on your shoulders because suddenly you've got so much more weight, on them. If your seat's too far back, even if your bars are low, you're still putting a lot of weight on your rear, and you're stretched out, and you've got a lot of weight, and you've got a lot of strain on your shoulder, on your lower back, these muscles in your lower back. I tried to figure this out for a long time, and there's all this stuff, low back pain. A lot of times, they always say it's fit, but oftentimes it's got to do with they'll tell you it's saddle height and stuff like that. Well, for me, it was not saddle height at all. It was fore aft adjustment. Now I've found this to be even more and more true. I have had a lot of issues with mountain bikes where the seats would slip and I'd find myself just struggling. It's always worse on a mountain bike too because you strain so much more than on a road bike, usually on tough trails. And if you're too far back, that strain, your glutes just like straining against your lower back. It just feels like it feels as if you're lifting a bunch of heavy stuff and only using your back, and that's basically what you're doing. You're straining that back muscle, trying to keeping it at this really sharp angle. As soon as I slid my seat forward, it's better. I have an old Beast of the East Cannondale mountain bike that I ride, and I know it's too big because I've measured it. It's like I think it's a 21-inch bike, 22 maybe even. But how I generally set my bikes up is from the tip of my saddle to the center of the bars should be about 51 to 53 centimeters, somewhere in there. Any shorter than that, and I start to feel scrunched up. Any longer than that, and I start to get that lower back pain, especially that bike is like 57 centimeters from the center of the front of the seat to the center of the bars. So yeah, I made that mistake. I rode last Friday, rode that mountain bike, and I did some climbing with the bike. And at the end of the climbing session, my back was killing me. I remembered I had a wrench. I slid the seat forward quite a bit on the rails, and it was like instant relief. I realized what I was doing because I kept sliding forward, So anyway, long story short, if you have lower back pain, one of the first easiest things I would try, just slide the seat all the way forward and see how that feels. You could be riding too big a bike. See ya.